You're listening to the Life is Scary podcast. I'm Atiana. LIS is made up of Giblet
Hi.
and Prod Goddess.
Hey.
And today we are going to talk about something that's been all over the news:
Yes.
Blizzard and Activision.
Terrifying news comes from a new lawsuit that was filed in California. It's California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing, DFEH. On July 20th, they filed a official lawsuit. They've been doing an investigation since 2018. This thing has been like looked for and
Jesus.
looked for and looked for. Which is a pretty big deal because they don't for them to file the state to file a lawsuit. It's going to set a precedent for labor laws statewide. So it's not just like a group of people got together and decided to file a lawsuit against a company, which usually those instances are settled out of court because you can pay those people off, or usually they come to an agreement that makes it so that everyone is walking away from it with some resolve. It's never really great for those coming into the company after the fact because none of the problems get fixed. So it's good that it's California Department of Labor doing this. Um, Specifically, there were 17. Um, no, sorry. I'm so sorry. So the allegations are that the president of Blizzard Entertainment was personally aware of employee complaints of sexual harassment directed at men with senior positions at the company. So it's not just like the my coworker on the same level of me as me is causing me distress. It's the people who are of authority within the company doing this. These sexual harassment issues were coming from the higher ups. He stepped down on August 3rd, and the human they've also separated, I believe, from their human resource department, which was also problematic as one of the bigger parts of this lawsuit is that these women were saying that they were going to the powers that be to say these things were happening and nothing was happening. Nothing was fixed and no one addressed the problems that they had. Because I know that was something I saw online a lot. It's like, well, how come all these women are suddenly coming forward, or all these stories are suddenly coming forward? Because there's that culture of blaming the victims in a lot of these situations, but these women went to their appropriate sources of direction. Like they went to them and they did nothing. They were kind of questioned as to whether their sanity was in check, like one of those like maybe you're just on your period scenarios.
Oh God.
And
Ew.
it's really, it'll get terrible once I go through some of the language and the lawsuit. But it's basically created a very tumultuous environment for anyone who has supported Activision Blizzard, especially content creators on Twitch and YouTube who have made a living playing specific games. And the games
Yep.
include Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. Now, what I'm wondering is, have you guys, I want to know what you guys is like personal um, situations with this kind of behavior in the past have been. If you guys have experienced that either on Twitch or even in your workplace or in your daily life. Because this is a very relatable lawsuit. A lot of the stuff that is going on is very common.
Mm.
Um, I would have to say I don't think I've ever had to deal with something of that degree. Um, yes, I've been around the sexist jokes and that sort of thing, but never to the point of like someone physically touching me. Because I remember I read stuff about like people getting groped and stuff and that sort of thing. So no. Um, I do remember, oddly enough, when I was in college, I used to, you remember, like, okay, I'm about to date myself here. It's going to happen. Y'all remember when like the sweatpants with the words on the butt, like
Oh,
flirty and all
juicy.
that was in?
Juicy.
Juicy. Yeah. Okay. So I
That
had
was
a
a
pair
moment.
of pants that were like baby blue and they had flirty on the back.
That's
And you
cute.
know, I'm a thick girl. I got booty. And so I remember I went into my sociology class and my professor like made a comment about the word flirty because it was on my butt. And I was just like, okay.
Um,
And just
That's
like,
wild.
just keep walking.
that's
That is
that's your
that. Yeah,
Yeah. So like
especially in a class like college courses. Those classes are huge.
this one
So
wasn't that big.
okay, I was gonna
This
say
was
let's
one this
like
wasn't in the lecture halls. This was like maybe 40 students in there. And it was the
still
beginning
that's
of
a lot
class.
of
Just
people.
made like a little comment about my butt. And I was just like, I hope I get an A.
oh my
Since you're looking,
god.
I hope you get I get back. Am I getting an A for
Like
this?
while
Like
you're there looking, make sure you write an A on my paper.
pretty much.
That's great.
Um, but no, I would say probably my biggest thing has been probably like the little jokes. And I mean, you just look at it and you're just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I've had something happen to me when I was underage, but it was a person who came into the house to fix stuff in my old apartment, and he tried to touch me and things like that. And I told my parents about it, and my mom took me to the police, the police department. And we go, and then they're like, "Oh, but what were you wearing? Like, what does that even have to do with what
Mm.
happened to me? Like, that makes no that yeah, so it went like, "Oh, maybe you just you provoked him." I'm like, he came into my house, and I was being nice to this person who's trying to fix something in the house. And it never got resolved. He continued to work and everything, and yeah. He didn't work in my old apartment, but he did work
Mhm.
in the building. So,
So that's
it
yeah.
never
So
got
that's similar, definitely, to what is happening. What
yeah.
happened to these women? They were kind. It was borderline gaslighting. It was,
Mhm.
are you sure that happened? Are
Yep.
you sure maybe this is your
Yep.
interpretation of what happened? He's really a good guy.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem like he would do anything like that.
Never.
Like, he has too much to lose. Why would he do it on you? Like,
Mhm.
as if you're not deserving of this attention, even though they're giving you this attention. Um,
Mhm.
I personally, and I have like really bad trauma from when I was a kid. There was an instance of when I was young in my teens, somebody close to the house was like exposed themselves. And I never brought it up. And then one day there were heated arguments happening in the house, and I finally said it. And the person was like, "Do you know what you're gonna, like, what you're doing to me? Do you know what you're
Excuse me?
saying is doing to me?" Because I was finally accusing
Saying
him of
something.
it and outing him for doing it. Um, and the cops were called. And I recall being at the precinct, and they sit you in the chair. And I remember the cops looking at me and saying, "You don't want to do this." And I was like, what am I doing exactly other than like giving my truth? And meanwhile, I was a teen. So I was like 15 when this happened.
Mhm.
And they were like, "Well, if you start this, you can't just stop it midway. You're just going to have to follow through with this. And it's going to get really difficult. And it's going to get," and like they talked me down so hard from doing it that I got so scared because they scared me. They made it seem like this would come back to hurt me, and it would be something negative against me, not them. Um, and I ended up never following through with it.
Mhm.
And that person is not an. I had to get like an order of protection and all these wonderful things that come with abuse and stuff. Um, but I never got to like process that with that person having to be held accountable for doing the things that they did. It obviously the stuff that is in this case is very alarming
Mm-hmm.
and not to the same degree. There's just sexual abuse and sexual harassment manifests in a lot of places in women's lives, whether it be in the house, home, um, at work, or even like going to the store. Just the other day I'm going to, and I get it is flirting. I get like this line where they're like, "Hey, we're just flirting. If you don't want the attention, then just like deal with it." But there's also the appropriate time and place for something like that. I went to see my family members ill, and I went to see them in hospice. And hospice is for one thing and one thing only. And the security guard checking our temperature and taking our ID and having to take our phone numbers, because you have to leave your phone number and information whenever you go to a hospital because they have to contact you if there's an outbreak.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom joked and was like, "Oh no, don't take my number because you're gonna use it." And he says, "No, I might not use it on you, but I'll use it on her."
Wow.
And
Excuse
I was
me?
just like, no thanks. I'm here to see a loved one who is very ill to the point where they're nearly passing. I do not want your advances, thank you. Um, so I
Wrong
moved
place, wrong
on.
time.
Yeah, and it was like, and then leaving, we come off the elevator and we're on our way out. And he lets everyone through, and then for me, he insists on us like fist bumping, and I'm just like, I don't want to touch you. I just want to leave, so I'm just gonna leave. But it was just the most awkward, and clearly, this is not the sexual harassment that is to the degree, but it's something you're inundated with on a day-to-day basis. Just being a female, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not particularly attractive. It's not that. That has nothing to do with it. It's just the degree of entitlement that anytime I want it, I can get it, kind of, that
Definitely.
exists in being a woman in man's world, you know?
Um, it's so funny you said about the security guard because I was thinking like, just workplace. But there was a situation, actually, it was hilarious a couple years ago. Um, I was doing a function at work. Well, it was for work, but it was at a skating ring. And the security guard had to, pat everyone down because I'm in Atlanta and fools be acting dumb out in these streets, okay? They just do. And he literally decided to grope and grab and cop the boot. Yes. And it was one of those situations where you're like, is he
And it's also
calm
like,
down?
I bet you felt like, what am I supposed to do? What do I do in that situation?
It wasn't even like a what would I do? It was more of a like I work where I work at, like my customers were there. So it was like I can't be me, which would have been, hey
Uh
yo, bitch,
huh.
like all that what came
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But that is totally taking advantage of that
Yeah.
fact.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no.
Ew.
Calm down. There's
Guess
nothing
we
there. You know nothing's there. Okay.
guess either I say something and flip out or be professional and
Yeah.
And you want to flip out because
Yes.
it makes you, it's degrading. It makes you, it's almost like putting you in your place. Like, I can do anything I want,
Yeah. And
and
like,
there's nothing you can do about it. That is
mhm.
exactly the same scenario these women at Activision were in.
And so you just gotta sit there. You gotta be like, oh,
Mhm.
like, do
And
I
it's
cut them out?
also, he
Do
deserved
I
it.
lose my job?
Oh, I can't imagine that, knowing where you were. I can't imagine that they would have held you any fault for. That's wild. That's wild. But they might have. They might have. That's what the fear is.
Mhm.
They could have. They
Pretty sure they
absolutely
would
could have.
because like there
Because
were
they would have been
children
like,
around, and
yeah.
I would have went off.
Well,
And so
that, and they
instead
would
of
have went, well, maybe you. maybe you thought that he did all of us, you know. Ugh,
The
it's
gaslighting there,
mm-hmm.
and ugh.
There's always
Yes,
a way to explain it away, especially when you have your perception of what someone is and who they are. And it's everyone I function with the belief that anyone has that in them to do that. I don't know anyone.
definitely.
And
Yeah.
it's
Um,
exactly what these women went through.
and I just think it's so interesting with this scenario. Like, we all know that, certain things happen. I hate to say it like that, but we know certain things happen in the workforce, and you just kind of got to like roll with the punches. You know, someone's going to say an inappropriate joke, and you're just like, if they're your friend, you may like pull them aside, like, yo, don't say that again. That was stupid. Don't ever. You sound
Mm-hmm.
ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if it's not, then maybe somebody you go to HR for. But in this case, it's like the Cosby Suite. How do
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I
there's
heard.
actually news on the Cosby Suite, people.
we like? But they were
So,
tweeting out. Like, they actually
uh-huh.
showed the tweets of them talking about, yeah, I'm about to find some ladies for the Cosby Suite.
Oh yeah, speaking of
It's like,
that,
somebody back
so
then was like, no, this ain't a good thing. Like, we
so
may not want
speaking
our developers saying this
Because
on
we're
Twitter.
taught to just roll our eyes and move on, and men encourage that behavior.
speaking of the Cosby Suite thing, so apparently I thought like when did the whole Cosby thing come out? Like wasn't it like 2019?
It was, oh
And
no, it was way before that.
okay,
Way before.
because like apparently I heard someone talking about it. They were saying like it was called the Cosby Suite because of like the walls. Like they said it looked like the like his sweaters and stuff like that. They called it the Cosby Suite. But I'm like, was it after the fact that they started calling it that or before?
Absolutely not, because it would be the text message that he shared was, "Let's bring women, get hot chicks to bring to the Cosby Suite."
Hmm. And
That's not so they can see the sweater walls.
yeah, no.
Okay, because like I'm like that and when they said that I'm like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't.
what
It's
they
like
tried.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like that
So
doesn't no you
there's an
can't.
art. So there's an update on it. There's a news post saying, in a statement provided by Blizzard to Ars Technica, the studio confirmed that the following staffers are no longer working for the company: Luis Barriga, who served as director of upcoming sequel Diablo whatever number; Jesse McCree, designer for Diablo and the namesake of an Overwatch character,
Mhm.
McCree; Jonathan LeCraft, designer for World of Warcraft. And Blizzard's statement says the three men are no longer with the company. It doesn't say that they quit, doesn't say they were fired, doesn't say that they were resigning or anything. But McCree and LeCraft were the ones in the pictures
Mhm.
with the Bill Cosby suit, and it's specifically a makeshift shrine to Bill Cosby. And their parties specifically were like designed to like lure women in. And this is in their place of business, so this isn't like in someone's home or something. This is uh these were parties that were connected to the expo they had in 2013 for BlizzCon.
Yeah.
So these are people that were coming because of their standing in Blizzard, but they were thinking like it's a party, but no, they were trying to just get these chicks to sleep
Mhm.
with them. Um, the quotes were like gathering hot chicks, and that they wanted to have sex with them and stuff like that. Um, but those specific individuals have left the company. Who knows why? I'm sure they have not had the easiest time in terms of uh, people contacting them, given the events that have occurred. But I think what was worse in all of this is like I want to give the response that Blizzard had, and it's Activision Blizzard, so this does include Call of Duty. Um, a Blizzard, their response was that they, and this is a synopsis, They believed that the stuff that was being brought forward, they didn't address the stuff that was being brought forward. They were steadfast in the fact that, oh, things are getting twisted and the details are more or less than what they're being presented. And they stood to their guns that they don't think that they're going to have a problem with the lawsuit because they think that they are fine and that all these examples are not true. Meanwhile, this investigation's been going on since 2018. So the amount of evidence that they have of this activity is astounding. So given that the response of the CEOs of this company are meh, I don't believe you shouldn't believe any of it. It's like exaggerated. It's not real, but the stuff that they were saying was happening is astoundingly outrageous. One of the excerpts says defendants have also fostered a pervasive frat boy workplace culture that continues to thrive. In the office, women are subjected to cube crawls in which male employees drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office and often engage in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. Male employees proudly come to work hungover, play video games for long periods of time during work while delegating their responsibilities to female employees. Engage in banter about their sexual encounters, talk openly about female bodies, and joke about rape.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you can have that brought to light and then say, oh, they're exaggerating. When it's multiple. The amount of women coming forward was alarming because these are women they're not tied to this lawsuit. None of these women have anything to gain from this lawsuit, quite frankly, because the state of California is filing it, not individuals.
Yeah. Well, you have to keep in mind the CEO was part of it.
Yeah,
Like
because many of the women went to him. He was made
but I'm saying
aware.
like he was engaging in the stuff too. So
Remember
it's like,
the
of course he's gonna dumb it down.
remember the interview
It's insane.
that they did, the World of Warcraft panel?
Yeah, the woman who asked the question is why is every single female character looking like a hooker, pretty much, and they
Like, yeah,
blew her off and booed
promiscuous.
her.
Yeah, they it was and you think back and like I don't know I've never seen that, and I'm a World of Warcraft fan, and I've never seen anything like that, and I feel like was I so blind by this content that I didn't think to look into, like, well, I guess we do that with everything. We don't expect
Oh yeah,
that this
no.
was this kind of environment, and they were a huge part of how a lot of the stuff that we love came to fruition. Like, we
Hmm.
have
Yep.
these women to thank for all these projects being accomplished because apparently these men weren't doing anything and were just delegating their jobs to these women. And it was also apparently particularly difficult for women of color. uh, there were excerpts where they said an African American employee noted that it took her 2 years to be made into a permanent employee. So these women were dangled the carrot of permanent employment at this big name company that everyone knew,
Yeah.
while men who were just hired were immediately being made into permanent employees or even made into supervisor positions and positions of authority where they were able to delegate to these women. And on top of that, they were micromanaging them. So men were able to just chill, play games in the middle of the day. It's a gaming company, so you expect like maybe their downtime, that's what they're doing, playing
Hmm.
video games. But to be doing it throughout the entire day while you're supposed to be working, and then have the audacity to call the female employees and ask them, "Are you done yet? What are you doing? Did you finish that project I gave you? Is it done yet?" And then not give them the leniency when they need to take a break or when they need assistance, or for they she specifically, one of the women said that she requested time off and her manager made her write a one-page summary on how she would spend that time off of work when no one else had to ever do that. This was specifically an African American employee who was a woman, and that is the degree in which she was micromanaged. If she wanted
I
to go
wish
for
they
a
would.
walk, she had to like come right back immediately and show where she was. It was, especially when also imagine around you these hooligans, quite frankly, who are not doing any work are getting promoted. I can't even fathom the frustration, especially when you're highly qualified. Like you've gone to school, you have the experience,
Hmm.
and you're being treated and given menial tasks. It's degrading.
But I mean, I feel like Goddess, like you can agree. Remember the whole thing? Like there was a whole spiel about Tracer when they changed Tracer's butt because they were like people were upset because her butt was big and they kept showing off her butt. And it was like
Yeah.
Tracer looks like a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
And
are you
Diva
looking at that butt?
too.
Yeah, like Diva looks like a child.
Isn't Diva like
I think she's
underage in the game?
she's like
Yeah,
They made her of age just because people were sexualizing her, right?
yeah.
because
Eh,
someone called, I think Widow says she's a child, and she makes some comment about I'm not a child, like it's like everyone knows she is a child. She is
Mhm.
small. She is not the height or you could tell she's not Widow.
And
She's not Zara.
even
Mhm.
so, it's just sexualizing these characters to begin with. Like these characters, they can just they're excuse would be well, they're just petite, but you're still sexualizing a petite childlike character. Like they also
Mhm.
walk around with a childlike innocence. Yeah, you can say that
Mhm.
that child, bunny quotes, is killing people, but there's a line that you cross when you put that character in tight spandex and then have holsters cupping her ass. Like Tracer's costume is outrageous. It
It's a lot.
is
It's a lot.
it it's asking the question of was there not a single there, and it is this is what the case is. There was not a single woman in the room to say maybe we don't do this.
But
Yeah,
no.
I don't think so.
And there's actually facts that the that women make up 20% of their staff. And they're a huge company. And they're only pulling 20% females. And none of the supervisors, management, any authoritative position is a female. None of it.
Until the lawsuit.
But I still, like, for it to be 20% and then none of those be, like, it's already a low number. And then when you find out, like,
Mhm.
they're the ones getting them coffee.
Yeah.
So it's outrageous. You're a huge company that makes huge amounts of money. Everyone knows your name, and your diversity is that shitty.
Mhm.
It's
It's disgusting.
astounding.
But I like Black girl gamers and a lot of the Black community, the African American community has talked about this a lot with Overwatch. I love Overwatch.
There's no
There's
unambiguous
no
black
Black
character.
female character in Overwatch. And the most like disrespectful thing that people said, you got Arissa. She's a robot.
Yeah.
She's not a female character.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's just a female robot
Yeah, she's a
that
fucking
is from an
robot.
African country. Like that's not the same.
It's not the same.
And like for the fact that people have talked about that for so long, like why is there no a black female character in Overwatch? Why? And then they're like, you see the original drawings of what's my girl's name?
That was outrageous to
Ash,
me.
and
That
she
they
was black.
Yeah,
But
and they
Ash,
whitewashed all these
Ash was
characters.
originally black, and then they
they
made
were
her white.
The original concept art for a lot. I thought wasn't there a lot
First,
of characters in
a black
Overwatch?
man,
Yeah.
and then
Which
Mhm.
character?
it's like
Oh my god.
was like, really? Really? We can't. Like, I didn't. I was like, why couldn't we make Ash black? What was wrong with Ash being a black woman?
Nothing. There's
You know
nothing
what it
wrong. They
was?
just
I know
they
exactly
just
what it is. They didn't want to hire a black voice actress.
But they wouldn't. I mean, honestly, let's keep it real. You don't have to. Let's keep it real. We just would like to have a black person in there.
But
Yes, we're going to complain about the fact that it's a white person having the voice, but we'll be at least happy that we see a black person.
yeah, I guess. I think they took the easier route where they can say, "Well, we wanted a cowgirl, and it for her to be like this stereotype," instead of saying like, "We just didn't want to employ black women."
Because that was the thing that made Apex. Like, people ran to Apex when they saw, wait a minute, you got Bangalore? You got
They
my
wait,
wait,
have
line.
there's
My
characters
black
line
that
is my queen. I love my
stars?
line.
like
And then they
everyone.
were like, these are the voice actors for it. Because they were like, yo, we want y'all to see. Here
Mm-hmm.
they are.
Here are
And it
all
was
of
like,
our receipts. And
I mean,
it's
that literally was
Here's the
Apex.
team.
and it's at
That's how they,
zero sacrifice to the game.
none. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yes, fatigue Lifeline's accent at times, but we realize that it's a different dialect of Jamaica. But it's okay. It's just at least a minority.
They are trying.
They are trying.
They are trying
Exactly.
their darndest.
Yeah.
And they still keep coming out with diverse characters. They could cop out and do same.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't.
Here.
They don't budge because they know that that is important. They know that we want to see people that represent us in video games. I
Yeah.
loved when Loba came out. She looked like
Go
me and all my
Loba.
cousins.
Mm.
Like,
A whole
Look, let's
moment. A
keep it
whole
real,
moment,
okay?
honestly.
The moment they said, like, think about this. Apex did Bangalore, black female that is very, very much so anti-feminine. Like, she is a strong black woman who has a very masculine side to her that we later find
Mm-hmm.
out she's a lesbian.
which she's
Yes.
also freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, she's
Like, she's hot. So it's not just like
mm-hmm.
we're going to give you someone who we know that we're going to like
Yeah.
purposefully make into like a caricature. She looked like a person. She looked like
She looked like a straight
someone
up person.
that I knew,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yes.
It
You then have Lifeline, who's a female doctor that's black. That works.
I love
Then you
Lifeline.
have Bloodhound that's non-binary. It was like, what? Where did this come from? Who are you people?
and it
then we
hasn't
got
disrupted.
named Gibby.
I love Gibby. He's me. I'm Gibby.
Like, you got a Samoan. Like, it was just amazing.
It was, and it without
And then we
sacrificing
got,
gameplay.
Apex. I mean, not Apex, Overwatch that gives us Winston, the monkey, and Arissa, the robot. And Zenyatta, the cyborg robot. That's Indian, so that supposed to count for something.
And that
does
comes
sound right.
from a room full of white men. And that's what happens when you close your doors to women, black women, women of color.
Just people of color.
People of color. But especially, I feel like that they would say, like, oh, look, we have all these male employees that are black. We're not racist.
So,
Pretty
You
sure.
can't say that. That's like, oh, I have friends that are black. I'm not racist. Like that's literally that. It's
Well, that's, I think,
disgusting.
exactly what they said. We value diversity and strive to foster a workplace that offers inclusivity for everyone. There's no place in our company or industry or any industry for sexual misconduct or harassment of any kind. We take any allegation seriously and investigate all claims and cases related to misconduct. Action was taken to address the issue. It absolutely wasn't. And in fact, there actually was a case where tragically and horrifically, one woman took her own life because they did an office trip, and she had a sexual relationship with one of the employees, and that employee proceeded to pass photos of
Mm-hmm.
her body around to other employees at a holiday party. So she dealt with sexual harassment regularly and eventually took her life because of it. So that I don't know how you can say that you took action when all of these women are saying it was so inhospitable. We had to leave because you couldn't do anything about it or refuse to do anything about it. And it's blatant in the content they produced. Yes, we still played it. We all play Overwatch. We all played World of Warcraft, but they did such a good job at, I think, promising a better diversity in their games that we all were just like, okay, we'll just give you the time to do it. We'll give you the time to do it. We're gonna like hold you to it, but we'll give you the time to do it. And we just never actually stop to say, like, if that's happening externally, if we're not seeing any unambiguous black female character in the characters, what must their workplace look like?
That's why Jeff said in Overwatch 2, we're gonna get Sojourner.
Oh yeah, yeah, that
We
was
get the black chick in the Overwatch 2.
that was good. You know, Overwatch 2 is a complete lie.
Yeah.
Apparently, they completely came up with that to stunt some bad press. And every time bad press comes out, miraculously, news about Overwatch 2, this made up game that's not actually being made, comes up. And
God.
it's never that Overwatch 2 is never coming because it's not an actual game they're working on. And everyone is now suddenly excited over Diablo as if this lawsuit isn't going on. This is wild. How do you support this company? They women were saying that despite any accomplishments they had, there was no further advancement provided within the company because their male counterparts were always put before them. And they were also denied equal pay, which you can't lie about that. So this lawsuit's going to expose a lot.
Oh yes. So I'm curious, going with this, we have these developers that have been named, and well, not just developers, employees that have been named in this lawsuit. And I didn't realize that like quite a few of them have characters named after them, such as Jesse McCree. And I know there's another one, the Field Marshal in World of Warcraft. And I know World of Warcraft, they've changed the name.
So that I think was
Should
like
they?
the way they signed their work is they put and I think this happens in a lot of things. Like you'll see it in movies and a lot of different content where
Mm-hmm.
they'll like as an Easter egg put themselves in the game or the movie. But I believe that the players were expressing that the fact that this person was specifically named in this lawsuit to have been doing these awful acts, and they I think are potentially going to change the name of it specifically because people were saying that they were going to cancel their WoW subscriptions. And I don't know if changing a name is enough. I don't know if it makes a difference that he left his mark in the game.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't change the fact that he did the things he did. I think
I-
it's like trying to take blood out of a sheet of clothing and stuff. It doesn't come out easy. It takes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
To
Just remove the
undo
whole
that.
character.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't.
So we're losing McCree?
Yeah.
Goddess.
Huh? What?
I'm gonna lose
That
McCree.
would mean losing McCree.
There's no more.
I
There's
don't.
no more high noon. High noon.
I never played McCree anyway.
She's
I
like
know,
inconsequential.
I did. I just his aim is I couldn't aim on controller and keyboard. I was like, it'll be easier. And I suck with McCree. So I was like, you know what? If they removed him, I wouldn't even be upset.
Well, but how
Okay.
did you feel about like because Activision used to? I know you love Destiny. Activision used to
Yeah.
be with Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
and they pulled out. Do you think that maybe they pulled out because of similar, for maybe something
Um,
similar like this?
looking back at it, like they left Activision because like Activision was trying to, I guess, like from what I remember, they were the game just got really bad when they
Mhm.
were with Activision. It was terrible. Like I've been playing this game since 2015, and when the changes they made with Activision, it just a lot of people were not happy with it. And then once they finally left, they were so relieved. Even the like developers and everything, they were so happy leaving.
Mhm.
And Bungie has a lot of female women developers, creators, and everything. So like I would assume like maybe I don't know if they went through similar stuff with Activision,
Wasn't it around
but it
2018 when they
um
separated? Because it wasn't
uh,
last year. Was it the year before 2019?
I want to say it was 2019, 2020.
So I
yeah,
wonder if they got like wind of all this
Maybe they
investigation
did.
and
Maybe
stuff,
they
and
knew
they were
about
yeah,
like,
the investigation. Yeah.
mm-mm,
yeah.
So
fuck
wait,
this.
Goddess. I don't know that many characters in Destiny. But what if one of the characters in Destiny was named after one of these developers?
I'd be so sad. Like
Uh,
just I especially like if it's a character I like and I
mhm.
love and I have like a connection with like characters
Mhm.
because there's not a lot of characters in the game. There's like the voice actor who played Cade.
I was gonna say that's the
He
one I know.
he yeah, I love he left Bungie. He's doing his own thing now. But if a person like I don't know who, but if someone were to like come
Asher.
out and who?
Asher Murr. Asher Murr. I googled. He's
Mm,
one of the Awoken Guardians in the Destiny series.
I don't know. I wouldn't care.
She's I
Like
was like,
this
I don't
thing.
know him. I
Like
don't
if
know
it's
him.
like if it's like Lord Shax or if it's Zavala or characters that I love so much, like characters that are very well known in the game. Yeah, I would because like yeah, if you remove them, if you kill them off or whatever, it's I don't know, it's gonna be different,
Yeah, I don't
especially
think usually
it's
these developers put themselves in like Easter eggs and stuff. They're not main
mhm.
characters typically. It's usually like one quest, you interact with them once, and then that's it.
Yeah, well, McCree is a big deal
I
in
guess,
Overwatch.
yeah, that's true. You're right.
Like
Mhm.
he has his own map. He's the whole connection with Ash and
And even
Echo.
that, the reason she
And
exists is
Echo?
because of him.
Hmm.
I didn't really relate to Echo.
Oh
When
yeah, he lets
he,
Echo out.
that was how we met Echo. Was that she was in the capsule on his map, and he opened the capsule, and she was like, "Hi, Jesse." Like they know each other and all that. Like he
Oh,
has
okay.
sex with Sombra. Like
They even
he's
sexualize the
got
robot.
he may have sexed the robot. I wouldn't put it past him.
I don't think that game would lose anything in losing the McCree character, especially
Uh,
when it's so blatant in the namesake. Like it's not just like his nickname; it's his name.
all I know is that if I don't hear is high noon, like that's
Rename him
kind of
then.
Overwatch. I mean, Twitch
Jesse
has
Cowboy.
a freaking emote for it.
That's how big this company is, and that's how they lured all these women into trying to be a part of the success that is Blizzard with their skill set. And a lot of their success came from their skill set without them being compensated for such um, accolades. Do you ladies think going forward that you're going to return to any of those games that they
Uh,
create?
no, I don't. I'm gonna say no. It's hard because I've played Overwatch for so long, like since the beginning. I was there, and I've made so many friends through that game. And it's yeah, Giblet. I think me and Giblet
Like bonded
became
over
friends.
it a
Like,
lot.
yeah, we bonded over Overwatch. Like, I have so much Overwatch stuff, and it's like it was hard. It's hard to not play. It was hard to uninstall it because I put so much time in that game. But I don't know. There's. I mean, hopefully this gets resolved, and they, I, I don't know. I can't. I can't. For me personally, I don't think I could ever play Overwatch again.
It's coming from a lady that's currently sitting in a diva chair.
Yes, but you can't see it. Hold on.
And there's a diva
Oh.
plush in her bed.
Yes.
And headphones, if I remember. Don't you have the headset?
Oh yeah, they got
You
messed
have the
up.
whole play. What are we talking about?
Melly has single-handedly funded the entire operation.
Pretty much.
What about you,
Yeah.
Donna? I know Overwatch was on your roster, like your rotation, sometimes playing it.
You know, I have a love-hate relationship with Overwatch already.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I don't.
I haven't even played it in a long time either. Even
I
before all
haven't
this
played it in a
came to
while.
light.
Like
haven't played
I
it in a
missed
while.
all the summer games.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
was
me
just
neither.
like, damn it. Like in literal, like I was like, oh, look at the new skins. Okay, I'm gonna have to. What? Y'all got lost? Damn it. Like I was like, nope, we're not playing. We're not playing
Mhm.
this. But
Mhm.
I mean, I went to the Overwatch League games
Mhm.
when they were in Atlanta. Like my lanyard at work is the Atlanta Overwatch teams. I'm
I had an Overwatch League T-shirt.
like, I have that hat
They did.
and cards, trading cards on my wall. Like I have a shrine
I
of
feel like
I got
their
shot
community
glasses.
has changed. I feel like in the community a long time ago was different. I feel like it was more friendly and welcoming. Now it's very volatile. I know that. Are they cross-plat?
They keep saying they're gonna
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, I
That's
think they
another
are now.
thing they freaking announced and never gonna do.
I think they are.
Okay.
I
They
think
are.
they
I played with Cha Cha.
Yeah, I think, but that's like literally something that happened like maybe a week or two before the
Mhm.
lawsuit. Like it's recent.
Mhm.
It
But
just their community has gotten very ugh, and I was turned off in playing it a long time ago just because it got very toxic. Quite frankly, it was just too try hard. It's a silly
Mhm.
game, like very simple controls and mechanics,
mm,
and it really wasn't that serious. I couldn't take it seriously enough for the community that was playing it at the time. So I eventually evolved away from it, but I did play a lot of Warzone. Like Warzone was my
Mhm.
game. That was my like calm game, and I have spent so much money on skins for
mm,
my characters. Like Sid is fully kitted out. She is gorgeous, but she is
Mhm.
also not something I'm going to be playing for a very long time. I don't know that I can go back to that. Knowing that those things came of an environment that was physically, mentally abusive towards women, sexually abusive towards women, and went unchecked for so many years, I can't forgive
Yeah.
myself for not paying attention sooner. I feel terrible for not paying attention sooner because this is something that the state of California shouldn't have had to step in and address. This is something as fans we have a responsibility to hold the creators of the content we consume accountable.
I think realistically, I probably will play Overwatch at some point in time. Might not be this year, but maybe 2022 I will, because this is what my thought process is. I don't believe that the gaming industry is some vast industry. I think it's very close knit. I think people know people. And I don't believe for a second that no one in the gaming industry knew what was happening over in Blizzard and Activision. So then the question becomes, how many other industries was this happening? Or
Mhm.
how many other companies, I mean, was this happening at? And then it comes down to, all right, well, then do we say no to all these games? Because that's what's going to happen.
It's the Amazon
Realistic.
question. Do
you
we
know,
stop buying on Amazon when it's the only thing
no,
available? All
no,
of
no.
these developers are all in the same circle.
Mm-hmm.
How did it
Mm-hmm.
go so long without? And it seems like that it's been something that's been talked about, but I feel like again it fell into the category of one voice was speaking up and nobody believed it because they had
Mm-hmm.
they loved their the content. They loved these characters and they didn't want to believe that the creators of these characters were quite frankly evil.
Yeah.
And I think that for one makes us need a positive affirmation, to be frank.
Yes.
I,
I think we all deserve to hear
this has been a very triggering
uh
and
yes.
Yeah.
sad conversation.
It's definitely something that I think everyone needs to put their to listen to these voices, people who are going through this, who are in this lawsuit, and they have to, they have to have the strength to um like just to know your worth, and just to keep a positive mindset. So I found this really good positive affirmation. It says it's called Know Your Worth. When someone treats you like you're just one of many options, help them narrow their choice by removing yourself from the equation. Sometimes you have to try not to care, no matter how much you do, because sometimes you mean almost nothing to someone when it means so much to you. It's not pride, it's self-respect. Don't give part-time people a full-time position in your life. Know your value and when you have to offer, and never settle for anything less than what you deserve.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I will say, I'm so proud of the women who actually left that environment to
Yes.
have this position, this like position in this big company that everyone's so excited over, and to say, you know what, I don't deserve this treatment, I am removing myself, is
Mm-hmm.
so brave. And there's so many women coming forward that they had to leave because of the way that they were treated. And they're in so much better places now, and they are the heroes of this story. And I hope they continue to reap the benefits of their self care and their value of themselves. And we all should value ourselves in that way. We all should know when enough is enough. And if the powers that be are not going to step up, then we need to step out because they don't deserve our time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Lucky
definitely
facts.
recognize, even those that stayed, because that's a
Yes.
lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot to
those that
go.
stayed because they needed that voice. Because can you imagine if the 20% of the women that are there just all left? They're the ones trying to broaden that gap, trying to
Yeah.
stick it out in the hopes that someone will finally listen to them and address the
Mm-hmm.
issues that are like so deeply rooted in this company. So they are also incredibly strong.
Yes.
So love yourself and love everyone. Sorry this was a heavy topic. I hope you guys can share and feel comfortable to share, but remember that you don't have to. No one has to know your story. We shared a lot. And just know that you're worth a lot, no matter what others may have over you, no matter what perceived value that they demand, that you're worth a whole lot. And we sure value you.
Yeah.